India scripted history at the Davis Cup after beating Switzerland 3-1. For the first time since 1993, the Indian team managed to beat a European nation on their own turf. A monumental achievement, right? But here's the big question. Can Indian tennis really claim this win? Because the players didn't just battle Switzerland, they battled something much tougher, the failures of their own system. The logistical nightmares, the administrative blunders, the sheer apathy of the Indian Tennis Federation. It's almost as if India's biggest opponent isn't across the net. It's sitting in the offices of the All India Tennis Association. Tennis is often seen as an individual sport, personal coaches, personal trainers, personal funding. But when you put on that India jersey, the sport transforms into a team battle. And the National Federation is supposed to play the biggest supporting role. But at the Davis Cup, that support was missing. In fact, instead of sending the best possible squad to Switzerland, the ITA had other priorities. Not tennis, not players, but officials. The Federation debated whether to send 3 double specialists because that would eat into their budget. Budget they preferred to spend on flying in officials. Those officials who had nothing to do with the winning matches. So while the players were preparing to grind on the court, the administrators were preparing to sightsee the Swiss Alps. Had it not been for Captain Rohit Rajpal, India might not even have had the proper team balance. Rajpal pushed back. He ensured there was enough depth in the squad, and when Yuki Bhamri pulled out, his decision proved vital because Ritwik Bolipalli stepped in. Imagine that, a win scripted not because of the system, but in spite of it. The doubles team may have stumbled, but India still fought hard. And 2 men rose to the occasion, Sumit Nagal and Dakshineshwar Suresh. First up, Dakshineshwar Suresh, a raw rising talent. Rajpal saw his potential early on, but did the Indian tennis system fight back him? Absolutely not. From his junior days to the professional circuit, Suresh has had to fund himself. Travel costs, equipment, training, all handled from his own pocket. His saving grace, former star Somdev Devvarman, stepping in as his mentor. And then there's Sumit Nagal, India's top-ranked men's singles player. Last year, Nagal pulled out of the Davis Cup. How did the ITA respond? With empathy? With support? No. They accused him of prioritizing money over the country. The same player who represents India globally had to defend himself on social media, clarifying he wasn't turning his back on India. The recognition bare minimum, the criticism through the roof. And yet, despite all of this, these players delivered in Switzerland. But here's the problem. This win will now be used by the Federation as a shield. They will boast about India's historic triumph. They will expect players to keep performing at the highest level. But when it comes to providing the structure, the funding, the vision, the ITA is nowhere to be seen. Just look at the global picture. Nations that dominate tennis, Spain, USA, Switzerland, France. They don't just rely on 1 or 2 stars. Yes, Federer and Nadal are generational talents. But would Federer have been Federer without Swiss backing? Would Nadal have survived without the Spanish system, building academies, grassroots programs, financial pipelines? Every strong tennis nation invests heavily in youth, infrastructure and coaching. India, on the other hand, expects players to fight without weapons. India's Davis Cup win over Switzerland is historic, but it's also a mirror showing us that Indian players are carrying the tricolour on their shoulders while the federation sits back and enjoys the ride. If India truly wants to be a force in tennis, if we want to see an Indian star dominate a Grand Slam or crack the top 10, then the system must change. The players have done their job. Now it's time for the administrators to do theirs. Until then, Indian tennis will keep winning the occasional battle, but unfortunately will keep losing the long-term war.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karj mo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Fiskali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も.
Portuguese,
Por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.